And we are live. This is odd. Let me know if there's any issues with anything. I love this little Boyd simulation. I made this a little while ago. Thought it would make a really decent little background. Let's remove that. Let's close that out. And pull up the correct thing. There we go. So this is the current project I've been working on. It's a kind of like a RimWorld type thing, like a colony manager that I've been wanting to build out. So far, it's got basic terrain generation and like, you know, A-star grid movement, little things. The ability to spawn little food items. I can see my debugger already having issues. But generation came along really, really well, which I was really surprised with. This took a good week to nail out, and I still have so much more to do to it. Like right now, it's just combining a few different noise layers together to get like interesting little like land masses where you've got like grass, you've got your mountains, your dry areas. I want to eventually add rivers and lakes and things like that, but that will take time, and I'm thinking of probably doing like a walker sort of type system to generate lakes, go from the highest point down to the lowest point. That way I can avoid mountains and act a little bit more realistic. As you can see, we've got this little colonist. This is my pixel art. This is the best pixel art I can do. Because when I try to do pixel art, it kind of turns out like this. That is supposed to be berries. That is not berries. That looks like a bunch of red balls on top of each other. A really, really cool thing I actually managed to do with this is set it up so certain things don't interact with the timescale of the engine. Now, timescale is a really weird thing to mess with. If you ever want to make like slow motion or speed up, slow down type deal, you can actually do that through engine timescale. Now, big downside to using engine timescale is when you change this, anything that gets affected by delta changes with it. So if I change this to 4, and then I run the game, hit generate, and you'll see now my colonist is moving much, much faster. In fact, he's moving 4 times the speed, which is really, really cool, but also a mild pain. Because there are certain things like tweens, for example, which can be slightly problematic to implement when you're messing with timescale. Now I'm trying to make sure I set the stream up correctly. Okay, I did, yeah. Grand, that's all working. Now you probably noticed, like the sharp eyes of you guys probably noticed that this isn't GDScript, this is C#. Now I am not great with C#. I would kind of just throw myself at some C# and just start learning. It's going well, I guess. Like this is a really, really wrong way of learning a language is to throw yourself at a project that has a massive scope, because you have a lot to learn and things can mess up very quickly. But that is why on my other screen I have like the easy len function in GDScript. C# doesn't have an equivalent, so you have to do some weird length finding other ways, or just getting the count of something, which works. So if anybody sees some really bad C# code and you know C# and you want to tell me how to improve it, please feel free. I am still progressing through this. But today I thought what I would want to do is probably start... What's this error? Oh, that's just... Okay, so that is a A-star thing. Now, fun thing with A-star is what I'm going to be using for the tower defense tutorial we're running through. Like at some point I want to go through normal pathfinding using the pathfinding like systems that it has, and then I want to kind of implement A-star afterwards, because the one really cool thing about the A-star grid and how I've implemented it in this is no matter what happens, however I change the terrain, it will always adjust correctly based on the weights and how the terrain is, which also means sizes and things like that. It just makes life much, much easier. But I think I should just kind of start working on things. Now, I don't really remember what I was working on last night, so this is why I have this, which is a codex board telling me what I was working on. By the look of it, colonist stuff. So we want to find the nearest food item, which is the next thing on my list. So I have an item manager class here, which more or less just spawns in food and does things with food. Is running off of a match statement, where it's just like, okay, you give it the type, you give it the actual data that it needs to be, and then you give it the position. And it will just kind of spawn that in and add it to a group of its type. That just makes it a lot easier to track. Now, that also means, logically speaking, when I create this group here, any food item will be then stored inside the quote-unquote food group. Now, that's kind of why I'm using name of here, because it's using name of item types.food, which means the name of the group will be food. To check that, what we can do is just do a quick print. For those of you who want to know a bit about C# programming with Godot, we can just print the name of, then use item types dot food. Hit run. And yes, I also linked up the debugger for VS Code, which is really, really nice. Now, if I hit generate and close this out, you'll see here we get food. Now, this error is popping up once again because I'm clicking outside of the borders of the A* grid, so it's just having a anger fit at me. But that is the group that we want, which means any food that gets added to that will be in the global group of food. So the next thing that comes onto that will be giving my colonists some way of actually hunting for that item, or at least finding those items. Now, I think having this in the item manager is going to be a good idea. Now, this is a lot of kind of spaghetti code in some ways. I've been like moving certain things out, like moving the movement component out, because this just interacts with the A* grid and stuff, and it's doing it via a global signal, makes life a bit easier. And I also need to refactor some of this because we've got a magic floating 64s kind of everywhere, because that's my cell size and that's how we get proper grid positioning. So that's going to be another thing to add to the list. So let's do this. Let's go into the decks. This is kind of how my workflow is with a lot of this stuff, where it's like, okay, what needs to be reworked? Let's just add a card to this, and we will say magic 64. Me not being able to spell. That's not just a video thing, that's just a real life thing. I just cannot spell. What am I saying with this? There are magic 64s everywhere, centralize it, and create a helper class for terrain positioning. There we go. And then I can kind of list this as a tag, which would be quite nice. Just throw out the rework tag. So that will be something to add to the list. I'm actually going to press this little play button here, which throws it into my hand. I don't know if I said this. This is Codex. This is really, really nice to use. Fun viewer and friend kind of mentioned this to me, and I've been using it ever since. Beck is amazing. Beck gives good ideas. But yeah, so Magic 64, that is something that we will have to figure out at some point. I don't really feel like doing it right now because this is functioning. Oh, but I should do it right now. Problems with programming. You should do something, but you don't. So let's just move on to getting the nearest food item. So with how I've got movement handled, I have a pathfinding component here, which is attached to the terrain, which is basically the A* grid. And I have this function right here, which is getting a valid path. Now, start position, end position, which means we're going to need the food item's position and the colonist's position. And that's getting used via motorcycle outside. See, this is the boring stuff. Well, not the boring stuff. This is stuff you guys don't get to see from when I'm doing videos. Is it takes me a while to sit here and actually think things through, because I want to do it in a way that's not detrimental in the future, and a lot of it can be. So to make this not detrimental, what do? We get it to query the item manager, and then after it queries the item manager will return the specific item that is close, or with the item that it's looking for. So whether it's close, far, it doesn't matter. We then give that back to the movement component. Would that be a good idea? Yeah, we give it to the movement component, giving it the object position, and then that will emit this signal, which will then just automatically start pathing the colonist to the correct point. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I've completely forgotten everything I've already said, so that's great. This is the take a step back and have a quick look at the project and go, how handle? That's how handle. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new function. It's just it's public. We'll just say it's private for now. We'll go private void. No, it needs to return a position, so it needs to be a vector2i. Get closest item. Yeah, get closest item, because it's going to need to work for every item that I use. So it's going to need to take a item type inside of it. And we'll just call it item type. And it's going to need to take a vector2i for the current position. I don't like the ordering of that. That's better. Okay, so we want to basically return a vector2i. Now, the easiest way that we're going to have to do this is probably going to have to be... going through with a list, probably. It's more than likely just a better idea. Just loop through the list, check the distance to the current object. Yes. Yeah, that seems like the best idea. So first thing we're going to want is to get the group. So we will call this the item group. And we'll set that equal to get tree dog get. I just do get group. Ooh. Oh, that's actually even better. I don't even need to do that. I can just go just call it list of items. Get tree dog get nodes in the group, and then I can just pass through the name of, and then I can pass through the item type. So that will get me my list of items, and then I just need to make a distance variable, I guess. So var distance current underscore, no, we'll just call it closest object. Set that to null for now, or do I even need to set that in this? I do. Closest object will just need to be a vector2, so we'll just do the new vector 2i. There we go. And we zero it out. Ooh, actually, let's not zero it out. Let's grab position of the item specifically. I think what this is going to have to just be is just going to have to be probably just an item. So I could just go, the item is going to be a node. So if I'm going to do that, I can just go node, and then we'll just set it equal to null. And then we will go, do I need to know the actual distance of the item? Create a new var for distance. And then just set it equal to, like, I don't know, stupid number. And then I need to do a for each loop, and then I need to go node item in the list of items. What I'm going to do right now is just do a gd.print and print out the item. And we will return out. Hello. Ilyas. Hi, how are you doing? I hope I pronounced that correctly. Just return out a 0 for now. So let's do a quick test in this, because this is going to get auto-populated and it's going to spawn an item in anyway. So let's grab... Oh, I did pronounce it correctly. That's awesome. Hey, from my Discord, that's great. I hope you're enjoying yourself there. And I am doing okay. I'm actually just getting confused at distance functions. Trying to work on distance things. It always breaks my brain. So right now I want to test a new function for getting the closest item, and all it needs to do is print out a list of items. And for that we need the current position, so we're just going to put through like vector2i 0 0. And an item type, so we'll just throw in food because that's the group that we want to check. Let's hit run and find out if this is going to explode. And the debugger says nothing. Why does the debugger say nothing? The debugger says nothing. Type food, that should be correct. Let's do some breakpoint debugging and see what's actually going on here. We got item types food, yeah, that's correct. Food item is being spawned. I just clicked the wrong button there, that's great. Step over. That's just variable declaration. List of items is 0. Now why are you 0? Ah, yeah. Debugging sometimes is annoying. Why are you 0? That is a great question. Groups being populated. Items being spawned. correct types being placed through. Let's change this a little bit. Let's kind of start from messing around with dumb things. This is where my lack of knowledge with C# is kind of kicking me in the butt. Oh, no, okay, so it's getting populated. Oh, I know where I went wrong. C# being literal. These aren't nodes, these are node 2Ds. I love that. That is the second time, or third time, that I've been shot in the foot by me not actually typing things correctly. But that should give me my nothing. That gave me my nothing. What extension shows the last change time, as in this? What do you mean by last change time? I just grab the name of the item. Is that going to just be nice, be gentle? Yeah, the grey text. I think that's just built into VS Code. At least I think it's built into VS Code. Yeah, that's still not working. Why? This is correct. These are node 2Ds. That needs to be typed as a node 2D. But am I just being crazy? Am I genuinely just doing this wrong? Oh, now it's empty. Now why are you empty? I would expect so. Like this thing, item typing is done via an enum right here. So, you know, just easy typing, because then you can convert it to a group name really quickly and really easily, because now it just uses the type of the type in the enum rather than the like random string that I want to apply to it. That way I can't make any typos. But I have a feeling using name of and then using the enum is actually what's shooting me in the foot here. But on a different note, that was populating and now it's no longer populating. Which means I think you might actually be right. I think the item type that's getting passed through is actually wrong. Because if I just go name of like item types dot food, I need to make sure that that's going to actually print out food correctly, because it should just print out the word food. And I need to actually restart the thing. There we go. Yeah, okay, so it is printing out the word food correctly, which means the group should be getting set correctly. This is an issue I've had before with grouping when it comes to C#. I don't know. Oh, wait. Would that be considered a local group? Would that be the issue? Because this is getting added to something else. Okay, then new question. How would I make it not a local group? Dot. No. it to group. Groups can be helpful. Yup. Group will be stored, saved. Yup. Improve performance. Group name. Yup. Guaranteed vary between projects. Fine. Remove from group is in group. And you just get like move child and stuff. And that's a group. And then normal get path and get path 2. I wonder if this is just because it's being set as like a local group and it's just not being able to be accessed correctly. But if it was, it'd be set to the local group of... Wait, no, that still doesn't make sense. A lot of this just doesn't make sense. Let's try and just do get first node in group. And we'll just nuke out this and help them nuke out a lot of this. And we will just go and do gd.print the list of items. Because if it is the item typing actually being inconsistent or being just weird, then I may have to figure out a new way of doing this. Null, yeah, so it's just empty. Well, that's annoying. That means I'm going to have to more or less just do a private string food group. I don't know. Just mess with things, figure out if I can get this to work. We'll set that equal to food. Do this dumbly, why not? Instead of doing name of, we just do food group. And then in here we go first node in the food group, and then we print it out. Aha, it might actually be the item type. You may be onto something with that. Yeah, it looks like it is probably the item type. So let's just go and change this to get nodes in group, and we'll just pass through the food group. Ooh, that's gonna mean I'm gonna have to change how the system functions a little bit. That's fine. I forgot to actually close the debugger. Do it again. Ah! Alright, Elias, you win. You win. You are a genius. It is the item type that's being the issue here. So... See, the thing is, I like the idea of passing through an item type because it means I have less of this to worry about. Magic strings. Magic strings are pain. So that means... Oh, actually, little off-topic thing whilst I was thinking about this. This is actually really cool how this is set up because I'm doing what I would like to call the maximum grid size of the projects I want to be building when it comes to like how terrain is being generated. And right now that is 250 by 250, which math is not my strong suit, and I'm a programmer. That makes logical sense. That's 62,500 tiles. Now, really dumb thing that I decided to do was create a resource for each tile. So it's basically just like a cell data thing. It holds all of the data that every cell will ever need. That way I can affect it in ways that I want it to. So we end up with to show off how dumb this is and how much optimization this will eventually need. Yeah, we end up with what? So 1,300 objects now, and if I hit generate, 64,000 objects. But we're still running at a solid 144 frames, so you know it's not that bad. When I end up adding a lot more to it, it will probably start being more of a problem. Where's my thing? There's my thing. Now back to this hell. I could just match statement this. I could just match the item type that gets passed through, and then just be like, oh, okay, if it's this item type, do this. Let's do that. Let's go var item group. It's going to need to just be an array, isn't it? Groups are just arrays if memory serves, so let's just do an array of... Not that I can spell, I swear. Node2d. We'll just set that equal to a new array of Node2d and just call it like that. Are you making a game? I am making a game. I am currently working on a colony survival game. Because I'm slightly insane and don't really realize how painful this is going to be. Right now we've got a lot of basic terrain generation handled, camera movements, scroll in, scroll out, reset, some timey-wimey stuff sorted, some basic food spawning in, and colonist movement, which is extremely slow on one-time speed. That's going to have to get changed, but at the same time that's around 2 tiles of movement a second, so that may actually not be that bad. Yeah, think of your rim worlds, your going medieval, things like that. That's kind of what I want to build. I want to build my own version of that because there's a lot of really fascinating things in those games that go into it, and they're also just massive, just fun things to learn. I don't want the terrain generator. Actually, that's a point. Let's show off the terrain generator a bit because this was a small nightmare of a really, really, really long script. Yeah, a lot of clearing, a lot of generation. This is actually how my generation goes in this. So first I generate the tile map. What part of the world are you in? UK. I am in the UK, yes. I'm very much English. As much as I don't like that sometimes, I'm very much English. Yeah, this is how the tiles get generated. So it's basically creating a new cell data cell, which will new cell every time I want to after I iterate over the terrain sizes. And that is more or less just its own unique class that I've created that just handles a lot of the containing of tiles and tile data like this. Does its own setup. That way I don't need to ever really think about it again, where it's just like, oh, okay, if it is X or Y level, it is grass. If it's X or Y level, it is dirt. If it's above all of that, it is rock. This just allows really easy modification. And eventually, movement cost. So when I start adjusting movement cost, and now this is the really cool thing, if I go to the movement cost here and I set this equal to, I don't know, we'll go 5.50, 5.0 F, and I set that to that. What should happen now, after I build this, is Norway. Oh, hell yeah. Norway is a lovely place. But yes, what should happen here is I need to turn that up a bit because I can't be bothered to work at like slow speed, so we'll work at 5 times speed. Once again, messing with engine timescale. Don't do it unless you've done a lot of research into it. There we go, now we're moving faster. So if I want my character to move to this tile, what he should do is basically avoid any tiles and find the fastest possible path. So if I want him to move, I don't know, let's go to here. He's going to avoid as many rock tiles, so the grey tiles, as possible and find the fastest path through that. Now if I adjusted dirt tiles and things like that, it would be even better. But for now, just basic object avoidance and pathfinding based on object weight. So that's going to be fun. Now, big thing that I'm trying to do here is this is basically just a background layer. So all of the weights should stay the same. They should all be at 1.0. And then if an item is on it, or if it's say a swamp or something like that, or water, it should then try to avoid that or move through it slowly at different speeds. That's basically where this will come in handy more. But yes, that's more to do with a lot of the terrain generation stuff. Terrain generation is a lot of fun. Now, if you actually want to know how I'm generating that type of terrain, I just have a tile map with certain coordinates in it, and then I have multiple different noise layers, and I'm combining them in different ways. Like I'm getting absolute of 1, I'm getting just normal 1 times 10, and then I'm just getting a normal 1 with no multiplication involved. So it's absolute times 10, normal times 10, and then nothing. Then I'm just combining it all into one position, which resets every time this gets called, so every single tile. And then it's just kind of giving me that, which gives me those really, really nice mountains and stuff. So that is my long ramble of or terrain generation, which we'll get into at some point more on videos, I think. Now for this this thing. What was I doing here? I was wanting to do a switch statement, not a switch, a switch statement. I wanted to switch based off of the item type that gets passed through. See if I remember how to do switch statements in C#. That's wrong. That's right, and then I need to do case, and it needs to be like item type dot food, and then that, and then I just need to break it, and yeah, there we go. And now I can just do whatever I want with inside this like switch statement. So if it's a food type, I then need to go and grab the item group is equal to get get tree. Get first node in group, not first node, we just want nodes in group. My brain working on different things, hell yeah. And then we just want to pass through the food group. And you're going to have an argument with me because cannot implicitly convert. Is this being done? No, this is not being done. Then why is it being stupid? Do I need to specify this as a dough collections thing again? No, that's just being done? Question mark. Is it because it's not node2dos? It's because it's nodes and not node2dos. Okay, there we go. Fixed. So we are now getting the item types. We'll add a default to this as well. And we'll just break out of it. There we go. Add one more case for the resource type, and with that we'll just print like a little thing saying, hey, no resources exist yet. That's being mad because control cannot fall through. That's because it needs a break statement. There we go. Leaving for early, but I need to work on my uni assignment. Hey, no, you have fun. I hope your uni assignment goes well. Yeah, have a good day. Thanks for like stopping in. So the next thing I want to do is, now that we're setting the correct item type, we need to now go and pretty much just loop through the item type. Probably a good idea. So for that, we're going to want to do something. Call it the current closest item. Yes, yes. That's preset this to a node. Set equal to null. Current closest distance wouldn't be a bad idea. Do I even need to think about current closest distance? Let's do the things I know I'm going to need to do. So I know I'm going to need to actually loop through this array of nodes in the item group. So for each node item in the item group, I now need to do a distance check. So I need to basically check the current position. We'll do an if check. If current closest item is equal to null, and current closest item is equal to item. If it's not, then we basically need to start doing our proper distance check. So that's just going to be comparing the distance between the current position and the item's position. Okay, so we can go. So current closest item will always be filled regardless of what's happening because of how this is being set. So the next thing we need to do, we need to go if the item is item dot. Ooh, how do I want to do this? Because I can just do distance. Can you not do distance too? No, you can't, because these are basically just nodes. These need to be typecasted as node2ds. Item you're having an argument with this. Why? Because it's not valid in the given context. Well, just bleh, bleh. Where are you? Issue with typing here, because if I guess I could. Let's try dumb typecasting real quick. Huh. This is where my brain is breaking. Am I doing this incorrectly? No, 2D cannot implicitly yeah, I know. Am I placing this wrong? I'm not. Don't make me do a for each loop through the entire thing. That seems very inefficient. There's no 2D. That's a valid point. So the big question is, do I actually even need to convert it to a Node 2D? Like, Node 2D holds position. Node does not. And these aren't being considered. You should, but the compiler will thank you, that's fair. Yeah. Let's try something really stupid real quick. We know that works because that's going to return just an array of nodes. Now, when I was testing this earlier, this is where my brain is breaking already. Make sure I'm correct with this. When I was testing this earlier, this was actually returning node 2Ds. Yes, it is actually returning node 2Ds, they're just being cast as nodes. New curiosity. Can I just do this and be very, very lazy with it? Distance is on node 2D. Node 2D contains all positional data of the node, whereas a node itself doesn't actually contain any positional data, which is a pain of just working with nodes. So what I could or should be able to do here is just go if item dot distance is it distance? No, it's. Can I just grab the position? I can just grab the position. Yeah, now I can actually grab the position of the node, which is kind of what I want to do, and then you can just grab dot distance too, because position being a vector 2. I thought this was also a vector 2. It is, yeah, no, it is. So the actual position of the node 2D is the vector 2 part, so that's the part I actually have to access. Now, nodes themselves don't have position. That's where the weird funkiness comes in with Godot and its nodes. What I'm actually going to need to do here is do this backwards, and by backwards I mean forwards. I need to grab the current position. They do, yeah. My brain is just, we'll say broken right now. So now I should be able to just basically grab the distance to, and then grab the distance to the, I guess the item dot position, and that should give me the correct thing. Why is that being rude? Because one is a vector 2i and one is not. Can I just typecast this as a vector 2i and be done with it, please? No, of course I can't. Okay, so crap. Right now I am working on just item manager, get the closest item to a certain character. More or less, let's just go and boot this up real quick. What I want to be able to do for now is just, I don't know, like press a button and have them hunt basically the closest food item. So I basically just want them to walk up to it. That's pretty much all I'm kind of going for now. Because as of right now, the other pathfinding parts are handled. All I've got to do is just feed it in the data for the position that it needs to walk to, and that's pretty much it. And I've been notoriously bad with just vector math in general, so yeah, let's just sip some coffee and like think. New thought, let's just remove the vector 2i, because I can convert this to a vector 2. Actually, no, it gets automatically converted to a vector 2i later. Oh, that's actually perfect. This is where my brain struggles very much with remembering what I have done so far. So the Pathfinder component here, which is just my A-star grid. Coroutine now awaits the player position being within range of lambdas. I could do that, but that seems good. That seems good. And my brain doesn't work on good right now, especially when I'm prototyping. My brain just works on throw something at a wall and see if it works, and then refactor a bunch of it later. But right now, with how this is being handled, the pathfinding component basically receives a valid point, so starting position and ending position, and then it eventually converts it to a vector 2i, and then it just kind of goes from there. So all I need is to basically just pass it a vector 2, and then the rest of it gets handled by other things that I've written in the past, so woo. Which means what I should be able to do here is literally just do an if check and go if the current position... How do I keep doing that? Current position dot distance to, and then distance to the item dot position. Now you're having, because that's a boolean, that's fine, is less than the current position dot prototyping. It's likely with my project. Well, that's kind of the thing. Prototyping is a weird one because you have to be quick with it. Like, you have to be very quick with it just to get prototypes out. Like, if you can prototype a game within a month, hell, if you can prototype a game within 2 weeks, just something foundational, something that you can kind of start building off of, you can then really just start kind of laying it out more. Like, this whole thing is very much just a practice on grid management, cell data management, mostly resource management. And I kind of just sat there and went, well, I'd like to turn this into an actual game that I may or may not release in the future. So I was like, hell yeah, just keep working on it. So prototype turned into an actual project. But most of my prototypes tend to take around 2 weeks. And mostly it's just, what are the main mechanics that need to function? Yeah, spaghetti code for the win. Thank you, hun. But yeah, my partner just broke my brain. That's great. Thank you. Damn, I forgot what I was saying. Sarah, what was I saying? You don't know. Okay, thanks. Yes, mechanics. So when you're focusing on prototypes, you want to build out the primary mechanics and just the primary mechanics, and that's it. You don't want any extra additive things. It's just, if you're making a tower defense game, which is the tutorial that I was currently doing, so if you're working on that, you want to go, okay, what does a tower defense need? You need the ability to place towers, get currency, have enemies, and have enemies spawn, and then have them follow a path, and then have those towers shoot at things. That's pretty much it. Once you kind of get that down, you can start then implementing new and better things, or just expanding upon it more and more, and then you'll end up just with a game and not just a prototype. Just working on those primary mechanics first is kind of the important thing. So I can then just grab the distance to the, moving back to this real quick, the current closest item dot position. So if the distance to that is less than the distance to that, what I can do then is set the current closest item equal to item. That should technically work, I think. Yes. It would be a good idea to just turn this into an else if as well, because I don't like using else ifs apparently. And then I can just do what, like an else then break? No, we don't even need to do that. Okay, so how would I test this? I would return this vector, because that is kind of the big thing, is this doesn't actually need to know what the item is, or it doesn't need to return what the item is, it just needs to return the position of that item. So what I can do here is we can do a gd.print, and we can mess with this a little bit, and we can just print out the closest item, and then just slap in the current closest item dot position. I'm gonna have to grid coordinate that eventually, but we don't need to think about that for now. Yeah, so let's do that, and then let's spawn in some more food at different positions. Let's put this one at like 15 and 12, and then this one at like 1 and 9. Yeah. So technically speaking, this should return this vector here, 1, 9, or something along those lines. It should return that. Closest item 64576, and that is because of how it's being converted. Do I just need to grab the global position of this? Would that actually be better? Not global position, and then we'll do the normal times 64 for pain reasons. So in this case, I'd have a resource as the item data attached to the generic world item object, then the world item enters a scene, would register with the item manager as it would enter the system. That is actually similar to what I'm currently doing right here. So my items are, if I scroll up and grab food item data, they are literally their own classes or their own resources, right? So with them being their own resources, I can modify things as much. So we have this, and then we have base item data, which just contains the basic things that every item needs. So decay rate, weight, stack size, the current amount that it is, and the texture itself, which we'll see if that one stays. And then this is a inherited variant of it. I don't really like using inheritance. I'm very much more of a composition person, but this is one of those instances where composition and inheritance go hand in hand really well. So this is my basic food item, and then I just have a specific food scene, which will just set up food items, and it's only one node, which is quite nice. I can just kind of duplicate that as much as I want. And by duplicate, I just mean instantiate that specific node and just feed it different resources as much as I want. Which means the item manager itself is actually the thing handling that via the spawning of items. Now I'm handling this through a just switch statement at the moment, where it just receives the type of the item, the actual food item data, so the resource itself and the position it needs to spawn at, goes through the switch, does everything it needs to, and then it just adds it to the food group, which is currently a private string, which will be modified because I do not like just having floating strings. This irritates me beyond all belief. Yeah, it's all added inside of its global group, which I'm now accessing through get closest item. Once again, going through a switch statement, it's like, oh, is it this? Okay, then the new item group is going to be food group. If it's resources, work hand in hand. No need to really expand out. That is true. Yeah, I think it can get really easy to get really lost in the weeds with inheritance sometimes. It's very easy to inherit one thing from another thing, and then you just keep going down that line, and then you realize, oh, I need to make a change to X thing, and then you kind of end up breaking some stuff, whereas I would rather just like avoid using inheritance a lot. Inheritance has its place, don't get me wrong. I think I've said something like that in one of my videos before. Inheritance has a really big place. Like right now, this wouldn't be functioning too well if inheritance wasn't a thing. I went back to C#. Dynamic type is fun, but it feels like a... Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. My GD script is far better than my C#, but C# feels good in a lot of instances and can run faster in a lot of instances. This will probably end up being a mix of GD script and C# because that just sounds fun to do. But for now, C# is kind of the go-to. It does just make it slow. Now, slow isn't necessarily a bad thing. Slow does make you think more. Like right now, I'm thinking a lot more than I would if I was just doing this through GD. If I was just doing this through GD, I could probably just rack this out quite quickly, which is why GD script is really good for prototyping. What am I doing and why am I doing it this way? I'm doing it this way because I'm being stupid. I'm doing it this way because I'm being stupid. Okay. Let's just do this and then let's do something stupid. This is going to look real dumb. We'll just call it pos for now, so equal to this. And then we will print out the pos divided by 64, and that will give me some weird number, hopefully. Yeah, that gave me exactly what I was kind of expecting it to give me. I don't know why I was expecting anything different there. Yeah, it's giving me exactly what I was expecting it would give me. Grand. Okay, so we're actually getting the correct positioning of the item. So that means all I should need to do here is just return the current closest item dot position for now. Why are you having a mad at that? Because that's returning vector 2i. It needs to return vector 2. There we go. Once you understand, reflection and generic dynamic becomes less vibrant. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong there. I will not disagree with that. Now I'm thinking that there's something wrong with this though. Getting the position of the item. New question is, if I say delete this item, because let's actually iterate through and see what item it's grabbing, because what? Oh, I stopped printing it, didn't I? Delete one print statement and break your own brain. Woo. I also just kind of like the look of C#. That is one of the other big things. Is I like the look of C#. C# looks good. Yeah, let's ignore that as 640 by 640. That sounds like it's doing this position because that position is closer. Hell yeah. Yeah, that looks correct. Nice. And I just realized this does actually need to be divided by 64 because that will give me the proper grid coordinate. Yeah, so that should be hunting for that item there. 1010. Yeah, okay, that's great. That is absolutely great. Let's pretty much just add a bunch of these real quick. And we'll just add a different grid. So we'll do like 100, 50, and 43 by 12. Why not? Snake typing over camel case now to doing GScript for a while. Weirdly, I actually prefer camel case in a lot of instances. I don't know why. Like, I want to say it looks better, but I do feel like with camel case you can kind of get lost a little bit, whereas snake case kind of makes it very obvious what's a variable, what's not. I don't know. I think snake case is just a bit easier to read in some instances. I also like my namespacing and things like that. So, speaking of namespacing, did I actually add a namespace to this? I did not. Hell, where is this? This is a item manager. This needs to be under managers, right? Is that what file structure, please? Not that, not that, not that. Managers, yeah, okay. Grand. That is the wrong button. That's the right button. Game.managers. Done. Yes, name pasting is just incredibly useful. God, I wish GDScript had namespacing. Like, I love GDScript's class names and things. That's nice, but I like namespaces. Just separates things. And I have file structure where it's, you know, this just goes based off file structure. So yeah, it's relatively obvious how this ends up getting handled, where it's just like, okay, well, game is the main folder, which means this is handled in my managers folder, so game managers. So it's simple, easy to find. It also means when I'm actually looking for certain things, I can just do that. It's great. But yes, so now we're actually getting the correct positioning. That is awesome. So now I just need something to interact with this. Yeah, now I just need something to interact with this, and this should function fine. I'm gonna have to just test it and find out. This was a lot simpler than I was expecting it would be, which is interesting. So yeah, next thing we'll just be going into my entity folder, into my colonist for now. I'm just going to slap it in this. This, by the way, is the entire colonist script. This is why I love components so much. Now, there are better ways to do it than just exporting the component and attaching it, but so much. I love this so much. It's just great. So what I want to do here is more or less just... Do I signal this? I could just use this as a signal, where I just use like a globalized signal to interact with it. Like when something happens via global signal connects to the item manager then responds with this. I would need to pass through the colonist's movement component, I think. Yeah, get path to position. Yep, okay, so that's how I'm going to handle this. So I am using a event bus system or signal bus system for this under my autoloads. Now, this is something that is going to get very, very much reworked very, very much later. Normally, I use static class game data to connect my game's different major elements. Yeah, I mean, that would function. Personally, I like doing signals or globalized signals. I really prefer using globalized signals just for the fact that if something doesn't exist, it's not relying on... Basically, just won't break everything immediately. Whereas this, like, signal can fire, but it doesn't need a connection on the other end, which just feels good to me. Delegate void get path to nearest... Oh, wait a second. Wait a gosh darn second. Get path to chosen position. Okay, yeah, we're going to actually just need to create a different signal for that. Never mind. So I can do something like game data get player signal bus. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I'll show you what I like to do in 1 second. So get closest items. This is just going to be a generalized thing. I'm going to need to call that an event handler, because if you don't add event handler in C#, it doesn't like to work. This is more or less going to be the same. Is this going to be the same? It is going to be pretty much the same signal, used slightly differently. So it's just going to need to be giving the movement component. Yeah, it's just going to be needing to give the movement component. Public, static, void, emit. This type of signal bus, by the way, I actually learned from another YouTuber called Firebelly. He has a great course on a lot of this stuff, and this just signal bus makes me very happy, especially with C#. I also apply this to GDScript because it's easy to apply with GDScript too. So get closest item. It's going to need a movement component because that's what we want to pass through. Now I just need to pass through the instance dot and the signal dot signal name. Signals through fair. Get closest item. movement component, and that should do for now. So here's what I do, right? I will write the, cut that off. I will write the function out like this. So this is the signal I want to fire, and this is the function that actually gets emit. Now I like emitting things through functions. It allows you to modify the signal if need be through the function itself. So now what I want to do here is go to my colonist, and I want to, we're just going to slap this in the process function because I am stupid. We'll just say that. We'll go input dot is action just pressed. We'll go UI dot. Got to actually do import dot UI. Am I being dumb? It's just UI dot. No, it's UI underscore accept if memory serves. I think that's right. Don't remember a lot of the UI functionality. You just mean dictionary. Yeah, that's fair. What was I doing? I was emitting the new signal, and to do that I need to go and do game events. Is it game events or is it event bus? It's event bus dot instance dot emit signal. Nope. I'm already messing this up. That's great. There you go. Emit get closest item. We're going to need to pass through. I need to actually sit here and be like, hey, what does this actually need again? Item manager, this needs a position and item type. Okay, so we're going to need to modify this to contain an item type. So can I just do something stupid here and be like, manager item types food? That's asking for too much, isn't it? That's always asking for too much. So new question is, do I just give this access to the wrong thing, game dot managers dot, oh no, it just needs to be the managers. There we go. What's the issue with this? This is using directive is unnecessary because we're already using managers. Hell yeah. That's because I'm being dumb. There you go. Yes. I'm doing this in a very, very, we'll say dumb way. And then we pass through the item types. Why is that having an issue? What do you mean? Why are you being like this? I could, but once again, that's the good way of doing it, or the easy way of doing it, and my brain just doesn't need to be a signal. In this instance, not entirely, but I kind of want to use it as a signal because, once again, prototyping, I'll just end up refactoring it anyway. That's annoying. So this is where it's just like, do I just have a much larger... What am I doing here and why am I messing this up? That's how, okay. Basically where do I need to just expand upon my manager at all? Because the way I'm currently handling this is it is all going based on just this item types, and I don't really want to... This is checking the turns you... Yeah, that's fair. The option is actually just passing it through as a variant, but that just seems like a pain. Like an unnecessary pain. Stuff that you do in Hertz, yeah, that's fair. A technicality, this should work, but it refuses to. Even if I actually pass this through correctly. See, there are some better options that I could definitely do for this. But this is like, the prototyping reason is just the easiest one. See, now I'm rethinking it, and this is the thing that ends up taking me a good 30 minutes where I just sit here and rethink and stare at it until it either works or until I have like a eureka moment. Because just passing through the item type isn't actually going to function. At least not right now, without me doing anything extra. Passing just through the movement component isn't giving me the thing that I actually need as well, because if I go to my item manager, I actually need to be passing through the type of the item that it is. Yeah, a thing that you'll probably realize is in my videos, what I actually do is I will spend a good couple of weeks actually figuring out the thing, and then I will rebuild it a couple of times and just rework it a couple of times to make sure it's actually a presentable thing that's worth teaching. Whereas when I'm working on my own projects, I do the opposite. Once again, I just throw things at the wall, see if it sticks, and go from there. Which also means I write a lot of really bad code. Bad code isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just painful sometimes. Videos they just take time to build. That's it. You know, once you start kind of working on a project, you figure out what people want to teach, like what people actually want to learn. So if somebody wants to, like, if people want to learn tower defense things, you just teach them that. I want to share a state machine for folks, but I've got no skill. I had no skill for videos. Nobody has skill for videos. It's something you just kind of build by doing. If you go back and look at my first video, it was really bad. If you actually go look at my state machine video, it's better, but it's still bad. It's just one of those things. Just improve as you do. And you can't start improving if you don't just start in general. So just keep that one in mind. Just start. You want to make videos? Just do it. I'm going to do something really stupid. By smashing my face against the keyboard until my brain broke that way. Yeah. This is the thing. If you want to make like a quote unquote solid video that people can actually learn from, do that. Slam your face against the keyboard until you have something that works. And then do it again, and then do it again. And then write down every script, every word, everything that you think about it. And then make it into a video. Simplify. Oh, sorry. Build, break, simplify, teach. And the best part about teaching is as long as you're like, you kind of know what you're doing. And I say kind of because you don't really need to know what you're doing. As long as you kind of know what you're doing, you can just do it. And if people say, hey, there's a better way of doing it, take the good criticism, improve. That's a hard thing. It's something that I had to get used to, where it's just like people want to help you improve. So let them help you improve. So in this instance, what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to do something really stupid, and this is just going to be using a string. Oh no. We're just calling it the group. I hate this so much already. And I'm just going to... I don't like this. I really don't like this. I immediately don't like this. I really don't like this. We're doing it anyway. We're doing it anyway. Why is that not going to work? That is because once the value string is expected, so that means I really just need to... You. There we go. Now we're just going to break this. Cry with me. This is painful. God, this is painful. Anytime you have to use a string for something, it just does not sit right with me. So I'm going to just pass through a string, not a formatable string, just a normal string. We'll call it group. Do the same thing here. String. Wait. Yay for being a curse project. You're gonna do it and you're gonna love it. I am not gonna love it. This is gonna be painful. Why am I doing that? I just need to do group. There we go. Okay. The signal is technically functioning. Lord. Okay, so it's going to need the movement component and it's going to need the group of food. This is just dizzying. I don't like this. Okay, so now what we have to do is actually go to my movement component, not the scene, the actual thing itself. And now we need to connect this signal here. So I need to go, was it game? Go to event bus, dot instance, dot connect. And I need to connect the get closest item signal, so plus equals, oh god, this is already painful, and that's in the wrong, this is the wrong thing anyway. Lord help me. Connect it after this. Get path to position. Doing that wrong already, ain't I? I am doing that wrong. Where else am I connecting a signal? I'm connecting a signal to the pathfinding component. You, come here, tell me, how am I doing this? That's how. I'm doing it wrong immediately. Grand. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Movement component, it just needs to be instance.connect. There we go. That's already having an issue because instance does not exist in this current context, which means you need to be using the dot auto loads, not attribute you. I'm doing that wrong again. Game dot auto loads. Are you being a pain in my ass? I love this. I've connected this signal such a long time ago, and I just forget how signals function immediately. So that's how it works. Gotcha. Event instance signal. No connect. Dot instance signal that I want. So get path to chosen position. Get closest item. Then plus equals get path to position. You're having because delegate issues. Yeah. Don't make me do this the dumb way, please. What? What? There was a really dumb way that I did this in the past, and I don't want to do it because it's involving a lambda, and that's annoying. Work. Work with me here. Wait, am I just connecting this wrong? Wait a second. No, I'm just connecting this wrong, that's why. Lord help us. Please. Hey, what do you mean? Wait, what? No overload that matches, but this should be correct. Oh, no, that's because I'm using a start position, and that means I need to actually throw through the... Wait, no, that is correct one. Wait a second. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Why am I just connecting this in the wrong places? I need to just stop for a second. So what's actually happening here is I'm just getting confused on where I'm trying to connect this signal. I'm not trying to connect it to the movement component or the pathfinding component. I'm trying to connect it to this. Why are you having an issue? Stop it. Yeah, I need to basically be connecting it to this because this needs to be the thing that actually does the thing. Wait, if that's the case, then... I've just set the signal up completely wrong. I want to bump into these Godot implementations like the group animator, like, yeah. Yeah. 3D or my code leads me to the animator, I know that's 1 to 2 weeks right there. Yeah, no, that's completely fair. That is actively completely fair. And I'm learning that I have just done this wrong. I have connected or I've built the signal incorrectly. What I need to do is actually figure out how this needs to connect properly. And this, funny enough, is where this program comes in real handy. And by this program, I mean Obsidian, if it ever opens, please. No? You just don't feel like opening for me? Okay, thank you. So this is something that I was working on for a video, so we're just going to steal this for a second, and we're just going to basically add a couple of cards here. So what I do with this is basically just create a collection or connection thing. Let's throw this over here, throw this here. We'll not be able to read chat for a second, I apologize. But yes, Obsidian is cool. So what I want to actually look into here is how I plan on connecting this specific signal. So, logically speaking, we have our colonist. That is super tiny. Let's zoom that in a bit. Welcome to how I prototype. We have our colonist. It gets hungry. It needs food. So what it needs to do is say, I need food. So that should go to here. No, that is just immediately wrong. This should connect straight to the I need food component, which means the I need food component being the item manager. So item manager is returning the position of an item. So that does just need to connect straight to the item manager. And then the item manager needs to connect to the pathfinding manager. And here's the spaghetti code in action, and then that needs to connect back to the colonist. Done. That is far more painful than it should be. Secret admit, listener connect. Yes, so this needs to be passing through a movement component. No, sorry, this needs to be passing through an item manager. The item manager doesn't need to technically connect to the pathfinding, does it? Because this is where I need to sit here and relook at my movement component. Movement component actually has a get path to object here. So what needs to happen is the colonist basically needs to say, is food. item manager needs to go, okay, this is the closest food. The movement component needs to then receive that object, and then it will just fire that signal. And that handles the pathfinding. That's the way that I've got this set up. I don't know why I'm convoluting the hell out of this as much as I am, but I am, and that happens a lot. So what technically needs to happen here is that needs to do that, because technically speaking, it's not even this. It needs to be movement component somewhere here, and yeah, you are tired. I've only been doing this for an hour and a half. I usually spend a good 4 or 5 hours programming. I think streaming on top of it is a little bit more tiring. No, update, leave me alone. A little bit more tiring, but still very worth it. What I do think, real quick, is I am going to go on a little 2-minute break. Now, whilst I go on a 2-minute break, I'm going to show off something really cool. The signal is more or less just trying to grab a position of the item, so it's just sending the position to where it needs to be. It's just me being a bit dense while I'm doing this. But very quickly, whilst I go on a break, I'm going to leave you guys with this cool little thing. I'll only be away for a few minutes. This is just in GD script, something I worked on a while ago. This is a Boyd simulation. If you like simulations, there you go. So the signal emits on the world item. That would be a good idea. That would be a good idea. Yeah, give me 2 minutes to think about it. Let me sort out this weird thing and spell things correctly. There we go. Reminder after registers. Yeah, give me 2 minutes. Alright, I have returned. Yes, this is my little Boyd simulation. I've had to tone it back a little bit graphically because streams do not like this thing. Yeah, but it is really cool little simulation. It's something I actually thought about, showing off in like a video, like, hey, how to make a Boyd simulation. But I feel like Boyds have been done to death a little bit, But it's neat. It's just avoidance behavior and stuff, following and avoidance. It's nice. But what it should look like, and now this is going to make the stream look very, very, very bad, is this. It's very pretty and looks kind of fluid, but also seems to break encoding quite a bit. So I'm gonna just stop that already. But yes, back to what we're working on. Did I close the entire thing? I did not. Thank God. So... yes, this. Registered. Glad you like them. All the manager after registers. There to do a wait. See... You're not wrong. This is what I like about you. You're not wrong. You're not wrong often so far. I'm a very stubborn person sometimes. I'm a very, there is a way that I want to do it, and I will do that, and then I will improve upon it. So as of right now, this is how it should, quote, link together. The item manager should never have to go to the pathfinding. That is something that is a thing that I need to keep in mind. What should happen is this. This weird spaghetti loop is what should happen. Where the colonist gets the item position from the item manager, and then the colonist gets the pathfinding from the pathfinding, and then rinse and repeat. Now, this colonist is incorrect. This should technically be like my movement component. So movement component, and then add a card for the colonist. And this is how, like, this is the kind of pain part of this, where I've got this separated, where it's just like trying to figure out how this connects, because technically speaking, this would be the correct way of doing it. Now, technically isn't always great. What this is doing is it's getting the path to a position via a signal, which is great, and it works quite well. I might need to just create a new function for this inside the movement component where it's like move to X thing, but I feel like that's just overkill. I feel like creating a new function for that is purely overkill. Let's try something a bit different, actually. Let's try my brain breaking real quick. I'm going to do something stupid. Basically, I'm going to break this the same way I did it with the string for the signal. God, I don't like this implementation, but we'll figure this out at some other point. So this is going to basically be... we're not going to do that because I'll break everything else, and let's not break everything else. Let's just change this to a vector 2, and we'll set that equal to position for now. Position, there we go. Position, no, that's spelled incorrectly. Position, there we go. And now I should basically change this to a vector 2 of position. That's correct, that's correct. What's the issue with this? Ambiguous reference between... yeah, this is going to be real stupid, but it might work. So let's try it. So, colonist is just giving its position and the food, and now that needs to go into the item manager, because this is basically receiving 2 position variables. So what I need to do here is come up to my ready, connect this signal here, so event bus dot get. You're having an issue because... what? Vector 2 string, no, that's correct. Vector 2 string. What do you mean that's wrong? That's correct. What's the wrong return type. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, I know why that's working that way. That's just me being really stupid. That's just me being really stupid. Welcome back. Thank you very much. Oh my god, I know where I've been going wrong. Oh wow, that's really dumb. That's really dumb. So this using a current position is actually, it is what it needs to do, but it's not specifically the current position that it needs. It specifically needs the movement component. Now, this sounds dumb, but what I should do here is just go movement component dot position, and that will literally give me the thing that I need, and then I can just set the movement components function. This is really stupid now. Movement component dot get path, and it's just going to need going to emit this and the current closest item dot position. And that's going to be an issue because that needs to be a vector 2i, so that needs to be a vector 2i. I just realized why that's going to break. Wait, no. So how I'm handling movement is always going to be a vector 2i because of this. Now, realistically speaking, it doesn't need to be a vector 2i, it could just be a vector 2. That means I'm going to need to rework that specific signal. Why are you using vector 2i? Are you using a grid? I am using a grid, yeah. Specifically, I'm using an A-star grid. So I just prefer to flat put it as integers, but at this point in time, vector 2i's are killing me, so we might just fix that real quick. By fix that, I mean break everything. This is why you use git. This is why you use git. Because I'm going to break everything, and that's going to be perfectly fine. So this is where this is coming into problems. So we're going to change this to just a normal vector 2 for now. That works. Set movement path, which is right here. Just needs to return a vector 2. That should fix pretty much everything other than this, because yeah, the closest delegate doesn't match. That's fine. I don't care about you right now. So now this is spaghetti code, and now it's just going a bit wild. This is the best part, is you guys get to watch me break my project, and then after I cut stream, I'll probably end up working on it a lot more, and then when you come back, it'll be working perfectly fine. But we get to break things first, because breaking things can be fun. So instead of emitting the current position, we're just going to emit the movement component. Why are you being angry with me? Because Godot vector 2, that's fine. We don't care about that right now. I need to go back to my close that for now. I need to make sure that this is a movement component. Welcome to watching me break things. I love doing this though. Like, as bad coding as this actually is, I love doing this because there's a lot of things you can just learn by just throwing your head at the keyboard and seeing what happens. So now that's all actually linked. That is all linked perfectly fine. It's doing everything I actually need it to do. So realistically speaking, providing the signal gets emit, which it should get emit through here, when I press, I think, space, it should do the thing that I want it to do and move it to the location I want it to. So let's show built-in actions real quick. Yeah, space. So when I press space, this should function. Give it a second to build. Don't blow up. Okay. Damn. Broke. Why did that break? That broke because that's off grid. Oh wait, no. Yep, that's because I'm not doing proper conversion for distancing. Wait, no, that should be fine. Excuse me? Wait a second. Yeah, no, that's correct. No, I agree with that. Yeah, so that's just off grid, isn't it? Yeah, that's off grid. Now that's off grid because it's actually receiving the wrong direction. Now that means what needs to happen is in my item manager, the position needs to be divided by 64. Man, I need to refactor the terrain positioning and things. So yeah, is moving to the closest item. So if I move it to over here, it's moving to the item. But it's moving to the item closest to the 0 vector in the top left. Oh, that's interesting. Why is it doing that? I know why it's doing that, and I don't want to know why it's doing, or I don't want to talk about why it's doing that because that's annoying. Wave Studios, hi, how are you doing? Something tells me this isn't either it's not iterating correctly or it's just not doing the thing I want it to do. Because what this is currently doing is just grabbing the closest thing to the 0, 0 coordinate and not actually the coordinate that the player is at. Now that makes me wonder if I am doing good. Now this is a little helper function I designed a while ago, which is actually quite nice. Stop and breathe, yeah. Breathing's probably a good idea. Okay. Okay. Just take a deep breath. Yeah, I think I'm just doing the math for this wrong. Or it's just not registering the actual position of the colonist correctly, which is a pain. I am making a game. I'm currently working on a little colony survival type game. Rimworld medieval, was it going medieval? Game like that. Currently working on just object finding, so getting a colonist to move from point A to point B when they need to do something. Oh, you got a fix? You got a fix? Alright. See what you got. Tell me it's my terrible vector math, please. I am not tracking the closest distance separately. That's a good point. Oh my god, that's a good point. That's actually a good point. Oh my god. when I was like setting this up, I was like, oh, I'm gonna need a distance variable. I'll worry about that later. Came back and bit me. Yes, I'm going to need an actual distance variable to track the proper distance of each individual item and see which item is actually the correct distance. Oh my god. Just outside of the for loop, make a var for distance. Yeah. Distance is returned to as a float, isn't it? That's a vector. Or is it a float? Oh no, it is a float. Yeah, my brain is just like breaking right now. So let's just set this to an excruciatingly high distance. Because why not? Yeah, then inside the iteration have the difference. A good point. Just float infinity. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, a thing. Is finite. Is finite. Am I being dumb? This is actually something I've never seen before, and now I'm happy. Ha! That's cool. That's cool. That is actually really cool. I never knew that. I love that. That is my new favorite thing. I've learned something new today. Yeah, no, it's just iterating over it in different scenario. Yeah. This is where my brain's gonna have to actually sit here and think about the actual code for a second. This is something I'm actually really good with. I'm really good with like pseudocoding things out in my head, or as you saw in Obsidian. Yeah. Then just do var current distance is equal to the check inside the iteration. Yeah. That makes sense. My brain is actively just slowing down like it's just slowing down. It's turtle speed right now. I think I'm just gonna take a second and think. Understand what you've just said. So let me pseudocode this out in my own words real quick. What I want to do in the else if is basically just check if the distance of the current item is less than the current distance. If it is, then I need to apply that current distance to the distance, and I need to basically iterate over it until we find the closest item. Correct, okay. So that means I can change this else if, and I can basically just go else if the item, no, brain, come on, you can do this. My brain is grinding to a halt right now. God, I love that so much. So we want to check if the movement component dot distance to no, before that you need another variable. Oh, I do, okay. For current distance. Oh, inside the iteration, so that would be here. There you go. Two, we'll just load. Yeah, right here. Yeah, I think this is just where my brain is actually starting to grind to a halt. 82, make that equal to the stuff that was in your else. Fair enough. So just make that literally equal to the... Give me a second. Let's just do some pure laziness real quick. There you go. Just pure laziness, go. Done. And now I just check if the current distance is less than the distance and just apply and keep applying until the final item is found, correct? I do appreciate the help, by the way. I really do appreciate the help. Me and math just do not go hand in hand. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I'm going to write this out and you're going to basically tell me if I'm right or wrong here. Ready? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just go if the current distance is less than, or we'll just do less than the distance. That's having an issue because... Oh no, how is my brain broken again? Excuse me, what? Oh, wait, what? No, that's wrong. Wait a second. My brain's breaking. There we go. Yeah, brain grinding to a very, very quick halt. And yeah, now I should just, instead of iterating over and setting it as the closest item, I just need to set the current distance equal to distance and then just keep iterating through the loop. I can do both. That's fair. So I can just say distance is now equal to the current distance, and then just keep going with that. Yeah, this is like one of those things. It's actually really, really simple, and my brain just does not grasp it. Distance is equal to item dot position minus... Yeah. That's what the distance to function is doing, if memory serves. Well, let's hit F5 and see if it breaks, because that's the best thing for my brain to do now. Nothing broke. That's positive. Oh. And now that needs to just be reset every time. Interesting. So that actually works. Ooh, that is mostly working. It is actually coming up on food time, so I do think this is where I'm going to have to leave it for now. It has been a lot of fun. For a first stream, this has actually gone really, really, really well. Sorry if it's a bit frustrating helping me do some programming. I will be back at the same time on pretty much every weekday now. So Monday through Friday, same time, every day. I will be working on this because streaming has actually been a lot of fun. I think that's just going to be a really enjoyable experience. So thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really hope you want to stick around and see how far this project goes, because I feel like it's going to be interesting. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Take care.